you for being here and showing interest to this topic that we've been talking about with the Culture Ministry of Spain, because of the inside the social responsibility in the corporates, we have to point out the culture responsibility. And here, as Sara said, you have a few examples of people that inside their corporates they care about what they do, but also for their surroundings, their communities, and their people. And culture gives that, and they'll explain it to us. For those who don't know our foundation, it was constituted at the end of 2014, and our main goals are three. We work in three action lines. One is to try to improve the laws in Spain and Catalonia about patronage. We are far away from the legislations that we can find in Europe. So there we have a platform of patronage that there are around 2,000 entities, foundations, associations from three different scopes: social, cultural, and research. We all work together to try to get a better legislation. Another, and the most important, is the cultural projects. We host cultural projects from all Catalonia for 1 year round, and we work their sustainability. Here we have businessmen and businesswomen who have tools that once you show them to the cultural world, they improve and they get better. And what we want them to be is to last long, not to just have a cultural thing that happens once, but that stays and they survive without having to need external resources, but to be sustainable by themselves. And the last, not least, it's this view that we want to give to the businessmen and women, to the corporates, that what culture can do to them, what culture regrets the benefits and everything that they get when they work with their communities, and actually the importance for a country if all together give power to culture and not only from the governments. We work, and our main goal is to help all this talent, innovation, all these geniuses that we have in this land that we have had forever, that they don't get lost, they don't give away and they'll go to other countries or to other places where they can find resources. We want them to stay, to accomplish their goals here, and to make our society as better as possible. Thank you for being here. I hope you enjoy this panel. After the panel and after the visit, you'll be all invited to a glass of cava from the Gramona family. He'll explain what he does. Enjoy it as well. It's an opportunity to give it a taste. And thank you to all these members of our Board of Trustees that are always an example of what they do and how they are. Thank you, Marko, everyone.
Gracias. Maite, thank you very much for that lovely introduction. Thank you very much to all of you for coming here to the Miró Foundation. My name is Marko Daniel. I'm director of the Miró Foundation, and of course for us it's a real pleasure to be able to host this conversation here with these fantastic representatives of business, who are also all of you trustees of the foundation. So that, I think, is a really good start. I'll start with a very brief introduction from my far left, Ana Garcia, Director of Communications and Institutional Relations of Sorigué, and of course a member of the Board of Trustees of the Catalunya Cultura Foundation. Ramon Agenjo, Vice President of the Fundació Damm, and an economist of long standing, member of the core business of Damm for ever, and really a much rewarded person for your efforts for business and culture and sport, with these very diverse activities that Damm and Fundació Damm support. Then Eva Blanco, Public Affairs Manager of HP, in Sant Cugat, just on the outskirts of Barcelona. One of the many places that is a kind of satellite business hub of Barcelona. One of these really interesting facts about Barcelona, that Barcelona sits in this valley. I don't know, for many of you who are new to Barcelona, you will have seen it as you arrived on by plane. There's the mountain range, and right behind it is there is really one of the different Silicon Valleys that we have here is Sant Cugat. Really, Barcelona in that sense is such an interesting city, I think, and also for me as somebody who's arrived here a few years ago from the outside. This dynamism of Barcelona, not just in the, let's say, traditional fields and let's say gastronomy. I'm saying this just because today maybe you've noticed that there were lots of all the top talent of young Catalan gastronomy were here for a photo shoot for a launch of a new marketing campaign by Barcelona Tourism. So Barcelona is famous for many of these things, but also many traditional things, but also for new technologies, new developments in many fields that really make it worthy of the title of Silicon Valley. And then to my left, Xavier Gramona, Vice President of Caves Gramona, one of the finest wineries in Catalonia, in Spain, in Europe, in the world. Can I go this far? And with that, we have really, I think, a fantastically well-chosen panel, because we have two representatives from, let's say, traditional industries, but leaders, world leaders in those, and then also representatives of more modern or differently focused enterprises. I wanted to start really with a series of 4 questions to each of you. We don't have a lot of time for the answers, so please keep them to about 2 minutes each. And the first one is about, I'll start with you, Anat. What do you think is the role of social corporate responsibility for businesses and cultural institutions?
Okay, thank you very much for inviting me. And in Sorigué, the CSR has a strategic role. It's permeable to all our activities, to all our businesses. And for us, it's not just a way to demonstrate our commitment as a citizen company, but also it's helping us, and it's a powerful tool to attract and retain talent. We are 4,500 people in our company, and we need talent. And we think that young people is moving because they feel in tune, or they feel connected to a company's values, to a company's purpose. And in our case, the CSR is helping us and is allowing us to communicate our purpose in a very tangible way for young people, very direct and very close to them.
Thank you.
Hi. We are quite old company. It was founded in 1876, so we are 146 years old. And we have given our support to the culture since the beginning. Of course, we were a little bit poor at that moment, but we did. So to me, to give support to culture, it's not an option. It is a must. It's something that we have to do. We have to return to the community what the community has given to us. So it's not an option. It is a must.
Thank you.
My way.
Yeah. Thank you. So in line to what Anna said, I might be a bit controversial now. I think we should stop saying corporate social responsibility. I think it needs to be part of the company. I mean, it's part of the culture of the company. It's how we have to manage businesses, manage people, manage our customers, manage our future products. It has to be everything. And culture obviously is part of it. And as Ramon said, is is essential. For me, culture is education, and without culture, we have no freedom, we have nothing. So we are a society we don't want to be in, and we know what it is, we have seen it in the past, no? So for us, as Sorigué, Damm, or even HP here, and I'm pretty sure in Gramona, corporate social responsibility and culturally focus has to be part of the essence of the culture of a company and how we manage businesses and how we do everything.
Thank you. Xavier.
Yes, hello. Gramona is by far the smallest company today here, and we are small, medium size, right? It's 70 employees, and we have even more employees than we should. So a normal company of my size works with 40 people, right? So we are in social responsibility. We are in culture by accident. So first thing, we have to think in the Maslow needs, say, pyramid, and say first thing we were in was social responsibility towards social affairs. So related to foundations with children or hambre, I don't know how do you mean that? Hunger and things like that. So, and that was, it came from the spirit, obviously. It gave some proud of belonging to our employees. It made us feel better people. So second thing we went into was sustainability. So we went into worry about the world future, and since we work the land, it's obvious that we have, say, a factory. So a winery is a factory. We started with sustainable affairs, and nowadays we are recognized as one of, say, most sustainable wine sellers in Europe. And then by accident, I was saying, so when you have, in a way, go over all those matters which seem to be principle, then you are not ready. Maybe in my case, I was not ready for going into culture. But then, I don't know, a few things happened, maybe 15 years ago, and we were asked to help somewhere, and we thought there was some, I'm Catalan, you know, that means there has to be money going back. So, yes, I give you money, what do I get? And I was not thinking on culture. I was thinking on something balanced. After all, our benefits in absolute values are much smaller than those companies' benefits. So I have to allocate them, say, in a very sustainable, again, way. So that we started that way. 15 years after, I belong to the foundation. We try to give money to that. We don't get any money back for that. We participate in, I would say, quite a few cultural events, and we really feel rewarded as a company. My employees feel rewarded, my clients feel rewarded, and we really have noticed that there is a universe around this activity which elevates the spirit of everybody around. So we are going on, and we give as much help as we can to the other matters. The first investment in Gramona is sustainability at this moment. The second one will be culture, and the third one, but not least, last but not least, is at this moment human help. And I think we should increase this part. We're doing our best. But I still say we are in culture by accident, and I think I will always say that.
Thank you very much, Xavier. Hold on to your mic. In fact, this takes us quite smoothly to the next question, because I'm really thinking now, especially as we're coming out of a terrible, devastating global pandemic, there's a lot of pressure on businesses, on governments, on everybody to think very carefully where you put your money. And of course, I come from the world of culture. I also want and I see the need for health, well-being, medical research, social cohesion, for all these questions. But for you, what is the reason for collaborating with culture?
I think that any kind of giving back is important, and without underestimating other options, we really trust in culture because it's important, because it unifies the reason and the emotion. So at this moment and in this world we're living in, that it's very changing context, very volatile context, very uncertain context, culture and art has this capacity to create new or disruptive responses to our social challenges. It has the capacity to unify people, to connect people. It has the capacity to inspire and to create new ideas. So this is an important part of the culture for us. And we think also that it contributes to generate this sense of belonging to a territory, in this case in Catalonia, to a society. So it's important also. It's a tool for education, it's a tool for communication too. And I think that maybe all of us will agree that during this pandemic time, we all realize how much we need culture and how much we missed it.
Countries that give their support to culture are better countries always. Countries that give support to culture, they share the profits to the people. Countries that give support to culture are countries that they have more equal opportunities. So there is no question about that. Countries that give support to culture have better health always, because people have more information, because people are more polite, and because people can behave much better when there is a pandemic like we had. So I am really sure that if we solve culture in every part of the world, we will solve any illness.
That's a fabulously ambitious statement, Ramon, but obviously one that really goes to the heart.
Yeah.
Eva.
I don't know if I can add anything else. But thinking on what we do in HP, so our CEO, which I think is one of the best that we have ever had, he says that at this point of time, in this moment in history companies are not going to be judged only by the profits they make, but also for the impact they leave in society. And I think this is the best description on what we are seeing after the pandemic. It was, sustainability and everything was important before the pandemic, but I think now it has become something that is urgent because we have seen the impact of not having it. So when we talk about sustainability, we not talk only about taking care of the planet, which is also part of it, but it's also about taking care about people and taking care about the community. So human rights, culture, and specifically education are super important. And what we see, the return that we see on investing in that, and as I said before, this is part of the culture. It's not that we have an RSC department that takes care of that. No, it's embedded in everything we do. The return that we are seeing on that is this pride of belonging from the employees, the brand reputation. In the end, we see that there are customers that are buying our products because of our efforts, our investment in all these areas of sustainability, and also this reward of seeing that you are doing something important, something good for the world we are living. So we want to really leave something much better than we found.
Thank you very much, Eva. Xavier.
Well, I feel very humble after my friends. So I obviously would repeat what they have said. Ramon is always educating me in this manner, and Eva also obviously, and his health CEO. For you to understand, my communications department, my institutional communication, it's me and two people, and I have never time for that. So I have nothing. I know. So I have nothing written about values related to social responsibility. Everything is in our head and in our conversations during lunchtime. So again, I answered a bit to this question in my past words, but anyway, I would like to add, just for you to have an example, my first say action towards culture was, it was 2008, the Liceu de Barcelona, which is the Opera Barcelona, the Palau de la Música, the TNT, which is the National Theatre of Catalonia. They had lost their supporters. They had lost in 1 year all the companies who were companies as big as Damm or things like that. It was not Damm, it was big companies of this size, right? And I said, oh, what a pity. My mother loved opera, so what can I do for that? And at that time they had lost this, and they needed wine for the clients. So I visited them and tell, look, I cannot give you money, I give you wine. And well, I started like that with the 3 institutions. Nowadays, we are supporting, we are mecenas in the 3 institutions, we're giving them money, but it has taken 12 years or 14 years to build this, relation. At that time, I was someone, I don't know what were my feelings, but the first thing was this impression I told you. And nowadays we are conscious and we are proud, I was saying before, to collaborate with them. And what else? I think I shouldn't say more things because everything has been said.
Xavier, thank you very much. And I think you've again helped us move towards the next question, because really what I'm thinking about in many ways is, you started out by saying, it's the end of corporate social responsibility, let's go somewhere else. But in a way, you started talking about this as something that's much more integrated in the life of the business. Ramon, I think you made the same point very clearly. Is this ESG? Is this what that is, or is ESG again another concept that kind of is an add-on to the way in which businesses, to the way businesses work? And do you understand how I mean? Because you talked about the environmental factors.
It's not an add-on. It's what I said before. It's part. It's embedded in the culture of the company, and in fact, all the leadership is measured on how they apply all of this in the way they do business. Also, from the products that we developed, how we made them, where we made them, how we sell them, and how we treat our employees, which are part of the company, and how we impact in our community. So all the effort that we do now, like all the things that we do for improving education and decreasing this digital reach, that's one of the examples of the things that we do, obviously. But also all the things about having a better gender equality or human rights and everything. And on the culture part, if I may say, it's not by accident, as he said, but it's true that we started collaborating with cultural projects through our own technology. So we needed to test things that we were doing, and culture was one of the areas where we saw that we could impact with our products. And we started with that. So he started with wines, and I started with the technology. And we have continued ever since then. And it continues to be part of how we impact and how employees feel proud of it, because they say, we work in this technology, and now look what we can do with it and how we are helping that. So we started collaborating with the Museu Nacional d'Art de Catalunya, MANAC, many years ago, trying, reproducing artworks with our technology and helping the restoration department. And since then, we've done many collaborations with them, helping them bring art to the streets of the city. Citizens that would never go to the museum because it's far away or because it's not part of the things that they do now, they could enjoy them because we brought it in the streets. So we started also with that, and since then we have never stopped. So I think it's intrinsic in the way we work, in the things we do, and it's no doubt for any of us in the company that it is part of us.
Anna, I know that Sorigué is not just a successful business, but that the company and the CEO are also really strong supporters of the arts. So in that sense, you talked also about the way in which this is important for, let's say, internal motivation of staff. Could you talk about one specific project that you're currently engaged in and how that is actually working for you?
Yes, recently we're asking how culture, because we think that social responsibility is not just the way you spend money, it's also the way you earn money. So how can culture help companies to earn money in a better way, in a more sociable way, in a more sustainable way? And our motivation is the reputational way, as you said, and also the internal cohesion. So Ana Valles, that is the president of the company, she's at the same time the president of the foundation and vice president of Fundació Miró. And she's living in both worlds. She participates in both worlds, and she tries to merge the business world and the cultural world. And she wants to provide the company with synergies, with creativity, with knowledge from other worlds that are outside of our company. So she created some years ago a Planta project that is an example. It's a place where it's our company and our foundation are united. It's a place where it combines the art, the contemporary art, the architecture. There is also a natural landscape, an industrial landscape, and also knowledge. So when we start working in this project in Planta, we also started collaborating with other cultural institutions. So we collaborated with Sonar, that is a music festival, electronic music festival, that has nothing to do with our company, nothing to do with our foundation. We are doing contemporary art. So we start collaborating in order to encourage new artistic proposals that are related to new technologies and new creations. And it was from 2014 to 2017, and we invited creators to inspire themselves in Planta and then create new works that were presented exclusively in Sonar Planta. So why we did that? Why we collaborated? And after some years working with them, we can say that we, as a company, we learned about new technologies that were useful for our company and our businesses. We created synergies with different institutions that we didn't thought that would be able, like Semiconductor, Art and Com, and University of Barcelona. So new synergies, and also was very important for us that we were connecting our company, that is an industrial and construction company, to a new publics, so new young people that is interested in new technologies, new talent. So it was a very great experience for us as a company.
Well, let me say something first. We are animals. We are all animals, all right? So animals need air to live. Animals need light to live. Animals need food to live. Animals need something to drink, water. So we cannot live without water, without food, without air, or without light. We cannot. But there is something that sets us apart, we human beings, from the rest of the animals, and this is culture. Animals cannot enjoy a Mozart symphony. Animals cannot understand poetry. Animals cannot watch a movie. Animals cannot enjoy a Joan Miró painting. They cannot. We can. We need it? No, we do not. We want it? Yes. Why? Because we enjoy it. It makes us happier. We are better people when we enjoy culture. And therefore, let's talk about our brewery. We're brewers. Largest brewery in Spain. We need to sponsor many cultural events because it's our business. So therefore, we give our support to more than 200 cultural events per year. That's a lot. Music festivals, etc. But let me tell you what we do in our company. When somebody gives us ask for support or for any cultural event, we analyze whether it has a payback, is something that we need in order to sell more beer, or something that we don't need. If we need it, we put it in the file of the marketing department or the communication department. There is a payback for us. When we sponsor Barcelona Football Club, we are main sponsors, there is a payback. We need that. We need it. When we sponsor Sonar or Primavera Sound or whatever, we need it. But when we sponsor Joan Miró Foundation, we don't need it. We don't come here to sell beer. No. We do it because we think that we are going to make a better country, a better city of Barcelona. So we want to give that support. In that case, we put it in the file of the foundation. In the file of the foundation, we don't analyze whether this project has a payback or we're going to sell more beer or not. We do it because we think that is a good reputation for our company, because we think that more people probably will come to Barcelona and enjoy our city. We do it because we take our employees and we send them here, we invite them here once a year, also to Palau de la Música, el Teatre del Liceo, museums, etc., 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 etc. Because we think that our staff, is going to be more happy when they can understand, they can perceive that we are supporting culture in our city or in our country. So, investing culture, because you will never fail that question. I told you before, it is a must. So, but do it, perhaps it's a good idea how we do it. If there is a payback, if there is a return on our invest, then you put it to the marketing department, or the communication department, or to the sponsor department. We sponsor, 100, 150 different culture events. But when there is not, because we don't want it, a return, a payback, then we do it because we think that it's our roots. We have done it since the beginning. So I think companies that do that, they are better companies always. Not only with the community, but also to the people that work in.
Thank you very much, Ramon. I think we've got a really interesting mix of responses here. I think there's if I can summarize. Xavier, I don't know whether you wanted to add anything before I talk about this, but I think you've already talked about kind of specific projects that you're working on. If there's anything else, now's the moment, or else I'll try to wrap up a bit so that we can open to the floor, because I'm sure you will have many questions to these really interesting people and the different perspectives. Interesting, I think, also that we have two people who are CEOs, business leaders, and two people who represent the company from within, but always with that view on an integration of, let's say, the philanthropic activity and the core business. And at the same time, there's very interesting differentiation between, let's say, core business of an enterprise and a specifically philanthropic branch of that institution, and the foundation. I think this is a very relevant point also for our gathering here. The question of the corporate foundation, and how that relates to the wider world of philanthropic support for culture and other activities. So with that, thank you very much for your answers to these preliminary questions. Do we have a roving, somebody with a microphone here for questions? Can you do that? Thank you very much. Xavier and Eva, you can share a microphone. Great. Thank you. Any questions to any of the panelists?
Thank you. I'm Rafaela
from Ashoka, Austria. I have a question to Eva and also to Ramon maybe. Do you have any means to also model the impact that you want to have? To model it, to really be clear about what do you want to achieve, what impact do you want to leave in this world? Because you said your CEO says you will be judged not only by the profit in the future, but also by the impact. And I think that the lack of this deliberation in the past 70 years of corporate history has led to the situation where we are now, with the planet, with the climate, with biodiversity, and also all the social issues attached to that. So and what I see is that this dichotomy that you are talking about, this is my business, this is where I make profit, and then part of this profit somehow I give to charity or philanthropy. That this type of thinking is really too short-sighted, and that in fact what you need to do is to integrate your impact model into your business model and really be clear about what do I want to achieve along the lines of my value chain, and then really take action and become, and have a strategy that is whole and that is not in two parts.
Fully agree, as I said before, this has to be like that. In our case, this is not new. I mean, HP was founded in 1939, so it's a little bit younger than Damm, but they're older. But I mean, it's quite an old company, more than 80 years. And this, I mean, I have read a text from the founders, which were two friends of Stanford University, saying the same things that I just said before. So it's not something new that suddenly the CEO we have now just decided that we need to do that. No, we have it really embedded in the culture forever. But it is true that it's important to have goals, as you said. And in fact, HP has presented the goals for 2030, which are quite ambitious, and which are their sustainability goals. We have these three pillars that I mentioned, which are planet, people, and community. And in the planet part is what else can we do to continue reducing the carbon footprint, how we have to be more, how to make our economy more circular, the way we do products, the way we sell them, etc. Okay, and also on the people part, all has to do with human rights and gender equality, which is, I think that countries without culture are the ones that are more towards that. So the less culture you have in the country, the worse it gets in there. And I think one of the things that I wanted to add to what Ramon said before is that culture somehow fosters that we think more. So societies or cities or populations without culture or less culture think less, I think, and that's really dangerous for the world. No? So this is the part on the people, and on the community part. In our case, we are really focused on education, on digital reach, and ensure that this digital emergency that we have seen a lot these 2 years of pandemic that has been really worse, we can decrease that, and we can ensure that new generations and societies where they have less resources can get to this digital, means which are essential right now, because the future is with technology, whether we like it or not, and this is a fact. Okay.
Thank you, Eva.
Servus. Now, I absolutely agree with what she said, but when you give support to a culture institution, the easiest thing to do is to write up the check. That is the easiest thing to do. Yeah, put the money, forget about it. No. You have to give support to that institution. You have to take part of your time and put it there to help them, to help them to grow, to help them to be more famous, because it's very easy to write up the check. But what companies should do is to integrate their people, their owners. For instance, our company was founded by my great-grandfather. Joseph Damm was my great-grandfather. It's so easy to put the money. What is not so easy is to spend your time helping the institution. That is something that companies should think about. It's not only to write up the check, it's something else. Et was anderes.
Thank you, yes.
I would like to
Of
add
course,
just
Anna.
one thing, because maybe in this think of how the model should be, for us the most difficult part is how do you measure these not tangible things. So this part that you are putting on the foundation, that is just charity, it counts. I mean, it's important and it's a kind of payback tool. But how do you measure that? It's not a short-term result, so you have to put it in your account. You have to take into consideration, but how do you measure that? And to some companies, at least in our case, it's very important the sustainability report that we have to publish every year, because it's helping us to think how do we mix our economic results with our social results. So we're trying to mix all the results and present it, and then realize, okay, what we're doing through the foundation is as important in a payback way as our economic results. So in this model, I think it's important to think about it.
The sustainability report, fully agree, and also the index of employee engagement. In our case, I'm pretty sure that you do the same. We measure that every year at the company level. And we know that everything we do on philanthropic areas or investment in culture or any sustainability goals impact on this engagement. And the higher the engagement is the more, we know that this is working. So it's a metric that we also measure. So,
thank you. Yes.
Yes, another question. I'm Cristina Loglio, I'm Italian, and I'm here representing Europa Nostra, the European voice of the civil society for cultural heritage. So I think that we are all believers here. We all think that culture is just of society. This is not the case everywhere, so we need indicators, parameters, and so on, you already spoke about, but I think that we have to become more efficient on it. We are happy that even the European institutions, both the Council of Europe, as you said, a few days ago, they signed up a recommendation which is perfect, saying that culture is not only giving some support to the cultural and creative industries, it's not only a way to better integrate migrants in our story, but there is so many reasons. But these reasons are always a little external. They are not part of our expression. So we need parameters, as you said, a little more flexible, but we have to share them and to use them with one voice. On the other side, I have a question to Sara, if it's possible to understand it for me, because the other side of the problem is to convince our theater people, music people, architects, and so on, they already know it, but to be more cautious about spending the social responsibility, which is part of our cultural responsibility. So I'd like to ask the artistic foundations about what they do or what they are collecting in this increasing awareness about the social responsibilities for artists and cultural operators. Thank
you. Sara?
Okay, we are non-stop working on this awareness. We do so many programs, especially we have been working so much during COVID to execute them now, and we are trying to attract the younger public as well. Not only the international public, which also, of course, we need to take care, but we realized that our local public was a bit disattached of contemporary culture. So we are working on that with new youth programs. Like, for example, last Sunday, it was the first Vermouth given here in the foundation, in the terraces of the foundation. Vermouth is a classical Spanish drink you have on Sundays in Spain before lunch.
I think in Italy too, actually.
Exactly. So, surprisingly, I heard from my younger friends that they heard about it and that they were so excited to come. which this is not so normal, you know? So, and what else are we doing? We are starting the after work hour. Yeah, so it will be on Wednesdays evenings, starting next Wednesday. So this is part of our objective, and also regarding your the artistic side, the creatives, the artists in the city. You asked, right? Christina, you asked about that. Yeah. Okay. We have, you know, John Miró was always a young artist, forever young. So he was working and researching new techniques all his life. He started with drawing, then painting, then sculpture, then assemblage, then he was angry with painting, and he was breaking the paintings. You will see downstairs when you go in the exhibition. So he never stopped, and in fact he created this center where we are now today for contemporary art. When you enter and you look at the facade of the building, you see 4 big letters in yellow, blue, red, and green, CEAC, which means Centro Estudios Arte Contemporáneo, Center of Studies for Contemporary Art. And in small, you see Fundació Miró. So he wanted to give to the city, and he gave part of his collection that was internationally known at the time, in order to attract young visitors and young artists here to the mountain of Barcelona, which is a bit difficult, the accessibility here sometimes, and we are still doing it. So we have a space called, Espai 13 downstairs, where there always contemporary emerging artists have the opportunity to show their work many times for the first time. And now some, for example, Jaume Plensa is very internationally known. His first exhibition was here at the Miró Foundation, just to put an example. I answered your question.
Thank you very much. I think, should we call it dibs on this? Because, I mean, sorry? One more question, go on then. Let's do one final question, otherwise it's a little bit too self-congratulatory on the Miró Foundation. And let's have a final question.
So I'm Luisa, I am from Brazil, but I'm working at Mecenatge Foundation in Berlin in a fellowship. And as Christina said, we are an audience of believers. So I wanted to ask you, how can we engage other leaders outside of our bubble? So when you are at a dinner with people that are not believers as us, that we should support artists, support culture, how can we go outside of the bubble to make more corporates to believe on that? Thank you.
Now, for me, the answer to this would be quite simply you call Ramon Agenjo. Given that we have him here...
It's easier than that. Let me tell you something which is really clever. It's something that has been launched by Catalunya Cultura. It's the culture committed stamp. Let me tell you some words about that. There are many companies that they really don't know they are giving their support to culture. Many. In the small villages, sometimes there is a small company and you go there and say, do you give support to culture? I say, no. Yeah. You're giving support, you're putting some money in this small theater in the village. Well, that's not culture. It is culture. So there is a very good way now that perhaps other countries can do, is to achieve the committed culture stamp company. How do you do it? You go to Catalunya Cultura and you say, look, I'm supporting very different projects of culture, and I really want to know if I can achieve this stamp. So what they do is they ship you to the Girona University, and they will audit your company in order to demonstrate that you are a company that you are committed with culture. They will ask you many things. They will look at your figures, and they will tell you if you really deserve to put this stamp in your company or not. If you deserve to have this stamp, you can put this stamp in your letters, in your website, in your commercials, everywhere. And it's not something that you say that you are doing. It's something that a big university has audited your company and knows that you achieve to have this stamp. And that way, if many companies do that, many other companies will want it. You know, there's in the marketing fundamentals, they say, you need something, you buy it. You don't need it, but you want it. You don't need it, you don't want it, but she has one. Now, that is the way. If we do that, many other companies would say, why? I want that stamp. I wanted to put it in my website in order that I am a culture committed company. So I think it's a very good way, you know, to share with other companies that you're giving support to culture.
Ramon, thank you very much. That's, I wanted to thank all of you for your questions. I think there will be more times also for informal conversation, but we have scheduled for you a visit to our temporary exhibition now, Miró, and the most intimate legacy. It's really a continuation or a manifestation, if you like, of what Sara, our chair, explained to you, which is that Miró himself was not just an artist, but also a philanthropist. He created the foundation, he gave his collection to the citizens of Barcelona, and his family continued giving to the foundation and to the city, and continues to do so. And this exhibition is an introduction to the way in which Miró and his family, now in the fourth generation, continue this relationship with culture, with the city of Barcelona, through a commitment to culture, and in exactly the way that you talked about. And I think for us, of course, again, it's a real pleasure to have you here. Any further questions to us from the foundation? There's also Mar Núñez. I don't know whether you have met her. She works in our development team. And Maria Valles at the back, who's our managing director. A really great team which together tries to move the Miró Foundation really to the forefront, also in terms of these developments of integrating these different ways of working, thinking, and being, both actively for ourselves and, of course, in collaboration with business and these really interesting businesses that we have here on the panel. So thank you very much, Anna, Ramon, Eva, and Xavier.